Hello everyone, my name is Matthew Gonzalez, and for this unit's video, I chose to watch the Our Planet documentary, specifically the Coastal Seas episode. I made sure to choose an episode that was including the oceans and seas of this world because earlier in the module we were discussing sea anemones and how they were more animals than plants, or they were considered animals. And I found that very interesting, and I was actually hoping to find more information about that in this episode, which unfortunately they didn't talk about at all, but they did talk about corals, and those are plants, and we did distinguish the differences this past module. So, uh, pretty much this video, I'm just going to talk about I'm just going to summarize what the documentary talked about and how humans are affecting the environment, but how we could also turn our negative effects around. Like we could actually do good still after all the damage we've done to our planet. So, as I made a list of interesting facts that I learned. So the coastal seas make up less than 1/10 of the ocean, yet 90% of all marine creatures live in these coastal waters. So this is one of the images taken from the documentary. I think it was in the cover image actually. So you could see the abundance of life that live in these coral reefs. Something I found specifically interesting, especially interesting, are the bottlenose dolphins. Their hunting tactics are actually really unique. I didn't know that. You wouldn't think that like animals are this smart. I think I underestimated them. I don't know about you guys, but they use mud to hunt down schools of fish. So pretty much as they're chasing down schools of fish, they surround them with mud so that they can't really go anywhere. They panic, so they start jumping out of this circle of mud. And that's when the other dolphins are waiting around to catch these fish in the air. They're pretty much playing catch with these fish as hunting techniques. So that's what I found like really interesting. Let me move my camera. So this is a clearer picture. This is like a helicopter's view of their hunting techniques, but these are, by the way, these are in protected waters. So again, when we stay away from these environments, when we're not interfering with these environments, we could actually see the interactions that animals have. So something else I found interesting was that seagrass absorbs 35 times as much carbon dioxide as the same area of rainforest. So I found that pretty interesting. Like how could plants in the ocean absorb just as much, or if not more, in the ocean as on land compared to on land? Um, Also, coral reefs cover less than 1% of seafloor, yet are home to more than a quarter of marine species. So we see how many little amounts of coral reefs there are, but they provide homes and are the base of these ecosystems for so many marine animals. Uh, the white tip reef shark. I found this specific predator quite interesting because it keeps other animals in check within coral reefs so that they're not overpopulated. It's like a balance. Like we also talked about this earlier this unit. Everything is a balance. Predators are just as important as any other animal in the food chain. They keep, they regulate the amount of animals that are populating these areas. So basically, these white tip reef sharks, they're able to go into these little nooks and crannies of the coral reef to hunt down these fish, and they mainly hunt at night. So that's one of the cooler parts of the documentary. I honestly do suggest watching it so you can see it for yourself. Um, so this is an image of a bleached coral. So pretty much, corals get bleached due to the rise in temperature, even if it's 1 or 2 degrees. What kills these coral reefs are the microplants in the corals that keep coral alive. They are dying because of the slight 1 degree change in temperature. So like climate change leads to global warming, and then we get bleached coral. It doesn't take much to kill these very sensitive plants. I mean, it is our fault. Like more than half of corals around the world have been wiped out completely. And again, these are the base of lots of ecosystems and environments. So if these are wiped out, then it affects all the other animals. So look, there's literally no fish around. Like it's compared to the image that I showed you in the first slide, there it's empty. It's completely empty. So that's actually really sad. And but there is hope in the later slides I'll show you. So sea otters. They eat sea urchins and live in kelp forests. But since humans have been over hunting sea otters, there's no animal to keep these sea urchins in check. So sea urchins eat kelp, and when there's no otters to keep these sea urchins in check, they completely wipe out these kelp forests. And again, plants like this absorb CO2. They keep the temperatures of the earth down. It's all a chain reaction. Everything is connected. Like our slight, what you might think is like a slight change in environment to like a specific area, it could create a terrible chain reaction around the world. So this is the Atacama Desert in South America. It's home to almost nothing, or at least it used to be, because it's the driest place on Earth. It is on the coast. There used to be tons of birds on this coast because of the amount of fish in here. But again, we overfish, we overhunt, and then that leads to like the destruction of these ecosystems. But the reason this specific place gives us hope for the rest of the planet is because we've put restrictions on fishing, and they've recently bounced back. Their population has recently bounced back, and the birds have returned. They usually use this ground to give birth and raise their young. So the fact that these birds are returning means that our restrictions are working. We need to start doing sustainable fishing. We need to start using sustainable fishing methods in order to maintain a balanced ecosystem. So that is pretty much it for the video. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I definitely recommend you watch that episode, if not the entire documentary of our planet. It's really interesting, and thank you all for watching.